Let's go. Elson Gratz, Ethan Rosenstiel. Welcome to episode 58 of the Ripper Podcast. I don't know about you, Elson, but I am extremely excited for this one today.
This is going to be a great episode. Maybe our best episode yet.
It might be. We're excited. We got guests back on the show. Payton Stauffacher will start us off. We'll get to him in a second. But like we said, talked about a little bit last week. We bring the guests back. We're excited to be able to chat with the people. It's kind of what this show's been built on when we started, but we're locked and loaded. Not just the guests, though. I mean, the sports that we're able to talk about right now is massive. Big news. Bill Belichick just today signing, like literally less than an hour before the show going on air right now. So we're excited to be able to talk about that. We're starting a little bit of local sports, girls and boys basketball. So we'll be able to talk about that. There's just a lot of good things to be able to talk about, but nothing better than welcoming a man who has appeared on Outer Banks and Cobra Kai, a man who is a lead in Devil's Lake. Additionally, a former cheesemaker. Ladies and gentlemen, Payton Stauffacher. Welcome to the show.
Well, hello. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Big friend of the show. Been on a couple times in the past. Maybe one time, and I think the second time we had some technical difficulties. Or maybe it's been two. I don't know. But we're happy to have you on here, getting us started. Hair is looking good. Sister Jade, get that chopped up, or do you need one coming soon? What's the plan?
We're gonna need one coming soon. It's getting a little airy out here, but
yep,
we're making do.
Yeah, today for me, not a really great hair day. Kind of a windy day. Hood's been up all day, so I'm rocking the hat. But Christmas break, we'll get. Hey, shout out Jade for the hair. Shout out Jade.
Shout out Jade for the hair.
Shout out Jade for the hair. Yeah, for sure. So what are we up to? You said you're in Atlanta. What are we up to right now? What's the plan? How are we feeling?
All right, so I guess my week has comprised of a decent amount of stunt training. I haven't had many auditions recently, but that's all right because that's part of the growth and development. But just been, keeping track of the body, making sure that we're healthy, so when we do get that call, we're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned in your little intro, Outer Banks, Cobra Kai, two massive shows. Just talk about the experience with that a little bit. What was that like? What was that like being on set? The whole thing, being able to watch yourself, just honestly in any segment or any feature that you have, being able to watch yourself like on TV, like that's just massive. That's got to feel pretty rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, it was when I first did it, I was like, wow, this is like the coolest thing ever. And then like you're there, you meet so many cool people. I mean, everyone on set has the same goal. Like they want to be the actors, they want to be this. And then you meet a couple people that are just there just because they're like, this is fun. Like, this is what I want to do. But no, it's a great time. You meet a lot of people, make some really good connections. And if that's like the path you're trying to do, I mean, getting on sets, that's the biggest thing. Getting a name, just networking. It's all about who you know at the end of the day. But seeing yourself on the big screen, that's kind of a cool thing. Like, even if it's just a little second or two, it's like, wow, I'm doing something that a lot of people don't get to do.
Exactly. It's a privilege. No doubt about it. Talk about networking, meeting people. Have you met anybody cool? Like, just going to be like with Outer Banks, Chase Stokes, or any of the big dogs? So you get to hang out and do anything with them?
Yeah, so I got to meet a few of them. So I actually had like a kind of a group that they all went to the premiere. I didn't unfortunately go to the premiere, but they all got pictures with them. And they're like, oh, my God, we remember you guys, this and that. But I got to talk to a couple of the stunt guys. Jaden Ponce actually is one of the guys that I got to talk to. And I actually ended up meeting with him a couple of days ago at the stunt meet here down in Atlanta. And that was cool. Talked to him, caught up a little bit. There's a place that I train at. It's called Jam. That's where a lot of the stunt guys go and train and kind of network, and you meet the coordinators and all that fun stuff. But yeah, right now, I mean, the cast that I've got to meet from Cobra Kai and that, they've all been super cool, super down to earth, like just like want to have genuine conversations.
Yeah, for sure. Also got a question for you.
So this isn't even the rehearsed question, but you've been talking a lot about stunt training. I got to know more about that. What does that consist of?
So stunt training, like a lot of it is really what I like to do personally is I like tumbling and that aspect of it, like learning the flips, learning like how to hit the ground and not hurt yourself, like landing the right way. But I went up to a stunt school in Seattle over the summer, and it was like a month and a half of just learning how to fight for camera, learning how to, take a hit, learning how to fall down a flight of stairs and not break yourself. I mean, granted, you're gonna have a bumps and bruises and not feel good, and you're gonna be like, oh man, my neck, oh geez. But no, it's I don't know. I'm passionate about it. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I do, but I'm loving it so far.
So I imagine that requires some athleticism. You played college hockey at Illinois State, junior hockey in Rapid City, South Dakota, in Oregon. What role do you see sports playing in your future?
Oh, I mean, I think that eventually down the road at some point, I'm hoping I get cast as, some sort of sports lead or something along the lines of that, or be able to do
That'd
stunts
be
in a
awesome.
sports. Like, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to make a movie about hockey. Obviously, that'd be my cup of tea. But no, definitely sports have played a huge role in my upbringing and whatnot. But yeah, I think it overall, I mean, helps just with everything. Being very able-bodied and coordination's a big one, especially with stunts. Like being coordinated is your best friend. And with
For sure, you got
hockey and baseball and all this stuff, I feel like that's definitely helped tenfold.
any big plays get on the ice anytime soon?
Oh yeah, I'll be at that alumni game.
Okay, all
I
right,
see you're
yep, I
hosting that
saw.
one.
Yeah, we're gonna be a part of that. I'm excited to be able to add to that. It's a fun event. I'm excited to. We'll see. Maybe we're teammates. If
Oh, that'd be a fun one.
maybe a maybe on the other team. We'll see. So you talk about acting, big gig. It's kind of your jam, but you also do a little bit of modeling as well. Talk about some of those experiences and what you enjoy doing about that.
Yeah, so I've actually met a couple people that have done shoots. I got actually really lucky and got to do a shoot with Robert Rainbow, who's one of the better photographers out of Atlanta. And I got to do a shoot with one of my friends named Sydney, and she was awesome. She introduced us, and she got the shoot. We did the shoot together. Super cool. Like, I mean, just like learning, because like I was still new to the modeling and all that, but just like learning the ropes and kind of seeing like what works, what doesn't work. You know, making sure your body's ready for what they want and being comfortable with what you want and what you're comfortable doing.
Yeah, for sure. I also got another question for you.
What does your diet and exercise routine look like for modeling?
Oh, recently my diet has been awful. Let me tell you, I wouldn't say awful,
Cheat
but
day. Cheat day.
yeah, with Thanksgiving just happening, and oh my gosh, I enjoyed myself. We'll go with that. But
It's all
no,
right.
my diet. I actually recently started the carnivore diet. I love it and I hate it. It's expensive, but the last like couple weeks, I felt stronger, felt leaner. Like you just naturally sit at a lower body weight. But man, you're always hungry. I will say that. But nope, I'm lifting usually 5 to 6 days a week with a day off, and then I'm training at Jam usually 3 to 4 times a week. So there's a lot of training involved.
I'm impressed. I am essentially on the Subway meal swipe diet, so you're doing a lot better than I am. And then
Oh,
maybe this is a little broad. It's asking a lot, but what are your goals for your future? Where do you want to go from here?
that's actually an awesome question. So recently, I have dropped my agent down here in Atlanta, and I'm pursuing a new agent now. But my ultimate goal is I would like to have or be a lead in a TV show, like a coming of age style series. That's what I would like to start with, and then eventually, I mean, action acting. I love the action movies. I love all that. That's a goal of mine. Otherwise, if that doesn't end up, happening full time, stunts. I want to do stunts for sure. Whether it's my own stunts, whether it's someone else's, whether just being on set, it's an awesome experience. I'd recommend just doing it. Getting on set once and just seeing it. Some people love it, some people hate it. I enjoy it. As long as you got the right people and you meet the right people, it can be super enjoyable. And then when you get paid too, that helps.
Yeah. So was acting and modeling and doing what you're doing now, was that something that you've always wanted to do, or is just kind of more of a recent thing that you just started to pursue and it's taking you pretty far? Or where's the motivation for this, and like how you feeling about it?
Yeah. So, I mean, originally I kind of just assumed I was going to go play hockey and then figure it out from there. And then that hockey came to an end and I didn't have the college offers I wanted. And I was like, whoa, now what am I going to do? And
Right.
I was like, you know what? You've always wanted to try it. Like, what's stopping you? I was like, you're 21 years old. I mean, worst that can happen, you fall flat on your face, you pick yourself up and go work a different job. So I'm at that
Exactly.
point where I'm like, I'm willing to at least try it. Like, throw yourself in the deep end and make yourself swim.
Yeah, that's
And
one of the
so far, I'm
things.
loving it.
That's one of the things I admire about you is you're just like, I'm young. I got a lot of life to live. Like, I'm just gonna go and do it. Like you said, what's holding me back? Like, that's awesome. I think that's something a lot of people kind of like. I feel like a lot of people miss out on because they're just so routine and they're, I'm gonna go to school or I'm just gonna get a job. I'm just gonna kind of figure out something. Like, you still got the majority of your life to live, and you're gonna be doing the same thing the rest of your life if you work, that traditional 9 to 5 job. But
Yeah.
you got an opportunity, go and take it. And it's kind of similar to something that like Elsa and I talked about in terms of, last week about the high school athletes playing and focusing on that one sport. Like, you got an opportunity to go play all these different sports. Like not a lot of costs, an opportunity to go represent your high school and do certain things. Like, take it. You know what I mean? The same thing, in my opinion. You're taking the opportunity that you're given, and you don't get. I mean, if you're talented, maybe you can, but not a lot of people when they're 60 years old are still acting and doing things. And so it's like you might as well take it while you can and just kind of roll with the punches for sure. But yeah, that's awesome for sure.
No,
It sounds like it's going exactly according to plan. I mean, you said that you wanted to play hockey and figure it out from there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you start right from the beginning. You figured it out. So very cool. How about we get to the daily draft? What do we say?
Let's do it.
We got a fun one. We're gonna be doing some best Christmas movies. This is gonna be a fun one. Elson Gratz, I got a dub against you last week. About time we didn't tie. Payton. So adding obviously our third person now. Payton is going to be representing the guests, and so the guest will be getting that. Also, we might have to figure out a new system, something I'm just kind of realizing now in terms of the records. Because if there's how do we represent someone getting third place, maybe we'll have to figure out. I think back when we kind of part one of when we were doing this and we had that third person, we did a point system. So maybe that might be something we have to restart. Maybe restart the records and see where we go. We'll figure it out. We'll let you know we'll let you know by next episode. Alson, I think we got a special guest. I think the best way to do this, let's let Payton pick out of it's a snake draft, so you can pick your first, second, or third pick, and then Alson and I will flip a coin to determine who gets the next choice. Is that fair?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, Payton, where do you want to pick?
I mean, I'll pick first.
You want to pick first or you don't?
I'll pick first.
Okay. All right. Payton's going to get the first pick. Elson, you flip the coin. I'll go tails.
All right. We've got heads. Tails failed on you.
Yeah,
and I'm going to lead off. We're going to take the first pick.
Payton's taking the first pick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take the second. My apologies. You're the guest.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm taking the third. Payton's going first.
All right. With the first pick, I am going to take the original animated Grinch from 1956 or something like that.
First on my board.
I think it's fair. Let's throw this out there now. I think, should we say like complete series? So it's not like Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2. Like it's just Home Alone.
Yep.
Is that fair? I think that's the best. Okay. We don't need to be getting into that weird.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what you're picking.
Well, I think isn't there multiple versions of the Grinch too?
Yeah, there's
the better question is, do you want those versions of the Grinch?
No, I only want that animated version.
I think the animated version, but I think it's just the Grinch. All right, Gracie, what do you got?
We're gonna go with Elf.
Oh,
that's a solid pick.
That's pretty good.
Hard to beat.
So I got the Grinch and Elf off the board. I think I might have tipped my hand a little bit here, but I think I gotta go Home Alone. I think it's a staple.
Yep.
Filmed right in Chicago. Payton, I could see you doing a Christmas movie at some point. I think that could be right up your alley. Maybe one of those Hallmark romantic ones.
Funny you say that.
Why is that?
So I actually was just credited with my first SAG movie, and it was called. So it's a movie about making fun of all like the Christmas time Hallmark movies. It's an adult swim movie. It's called Yule Log.
That's brilliant.
Yep. So I did that over the summer, and it just came out actually like yesterday.
Really?
So that was a cool little thing that happened. But so that might be my number 2 pick as of right now.
Oh, there you go. I mean that's kind of like that's a flex a little bit, being able to pick your own movies. And
no, I can't pick that one quite yet. I think I got to go with the.
Whoa! Snake draft. I got my pick.
You got
Snake
it.
Draft. It goes
No
backwards.
picks for Ethan.
I'm not sacrificing because I want Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, I want my pick, and I'm gonna go Christmas Vacation. Thank you very much.
Good thing. Yeah.
That was next up on my board.
Yep.
This one might not win me the poll, but you got to eat your vegetables, and you can't have Christmas without It's a Wonderful Life.
Yep, that might not win you, but I mean, it's there. It's valid.
That is not fair. That is a great movie.
It's not even on my list. It's not even on.
That doesn't surprise me, Ethan. That doesn't surprise me a bit.
I'm not very cultured in movies. That's fair.
Well,
Peyton, Peyton, you get 2 picks here.
In that case, we're gonna stick with the animated. We're gonna go with Polar Express.
Yep, that's on my list.
And then the final. What do I want that to be? This is kind of a tough one. I'm kind of got a little toss up.
Yeah, I mean, what's left is it's iffy for sure.
Now I gotta think. You know what? I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with the new Adult Swim Yule log, making fun of the Hallmark Christmas movies. I'm gonna throw that one for number 3. There's a little bias.
If you have your own Christmas movie, you've got to pick your own Christmas.
You got to pick it. I mean, not many. I don't know a single person, obviously, like someone that can actually do that. I think you have to.
I think so too. I think so. But yeah, go check that movie out if you want to see it.
Yeah, that might win the list right there. Representing the guests, I think Peyton might want it right there with picking his own movie. Elson, what do you got?
We went old school last time. I've got a bunch of classics sitting on the board. We got A Christmas Story. We got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman. Now we're going to go with Krampus 2015. It's a terrible movie, but in a good way.
Yeah. Not another Christmas movie that did not make my list.
That's all right.
I'm going to go with another good one. I'm surprised, Mr. Irrelevant pick here, the 9th overall. I'm surprised it's still sitting here. But give me The Christmas Story. The tongue getting stuck to the pole. I mean, that's it's iconic. I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably kicking yourself now for not taking that one. But I think I'm going to cruise to another victory here, guys. Peyton might give me a run with picking his own movie. But Elson, you might not even be in the question.
Ethan, I did you a favor because remember last episode when it was Ethan versus Ethan on the daily draft? You didn't change that. I went into the doc and fixed that like half an hour before. So you're welcome. I could have been 3-1 and 3.
I maybe I do need to forfeit that. But yeah, I appreciate that, Elson. I thought I went in there and fixed it, but I guess I didn't. You didn't even call me out on that though. I mean, now the whole world knows that.
You called me out first.
I know, understandable. All right, review the list. I went Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, and A Christmas Story. Elson went Elf, It's a Wonderful Life, and Krampus 2015. And then Peyton went with the Grinch and specifically the animated version, Polar Express, and the U-Log. How about that? Check out the U-Log. Am I pronouncing it right? The U-Log?
Yep. U-Log, yep.
Bingo. There you go. So that's the daily draft. You'll be able to vote on Instagram on the poll. I'll get that up tonight, hopefully, and we'll see who gets the job done. We'll figure out a point system. We'll figure out a point system to be able to get that worked out. But that's all we got. Payton Stauffacher, we appreciate you joining us. What else? Anything else? Any of the movie teases you got to share with us before you head out?
At the moment, no. I got no teases for you, but I'm hoping that we're gonna have an eventful new year and hopefully much more to come. Hopefully we get on here a couple more times. For sure. Plans on you said you're gonna be home for Christmas. Yes, sir. I'm gonna be home from the 22nd to like the 5th or 6th. There we go. Welcome back to Cheesetown. Yep. We'll be back. We'll be back. There you go. That's all we got. Payton Stauffacher, thanks for joining us. Best of luck in the future. We'll talk soon. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. And good luck with college, boys. Yeah, appreciate it. Payton Stauffacher, everybody. What a stud that kid is. What a flex, Olsen, to be able to. It's just brutal. I mean, he literally in the daily draft picked his own movie. I mean, just casually dropped it in there. That's like oh, yeah. That's got a Christmas movie coming out. Maybe I'll pick that one.
Exactly. That's like me. Like if I'm on another podcast and we're doing the Daily Drafted podcast, that's like me picking the podcast, but like 10 times better. Like that's massive. Kid's a stud. Also, we got a lot to get to. We'll start with the local sports coverage. And so we're excited to be able to do this. Now, there is a little bit of issues in terms because based on where you look for media, you get different stats. And so that's based on, you got Huddle, you got with sports, you got all these different kind of sources. We, based on the current graphic, we went with sports stats. And I know, Ryan Madison, analytical guy, shout out Ryan. He went out and checked out Huddle. And so I looked at with sports, he looked at Huddle. We got two different things. Huddle, come to find out, it's got more games on there. So these stats and these rankings are based on with sports. We're going to continue to try and figure out what the best way to provide the most accurate data going forward is going to be with Ryan and myself and Elson. But here we go. We got these rankings. We'll bring them out for you. We got the boys and the girls. Super excited stuff. Elson, got anything that's, just calling your name? What do you got to say about this?
I think instead of relying on Huddle or with sports, we got to go to all the games. Make a road trip.
We might have to start. We might have to start road tripping, especially on that Christmas break. We might have to. We're going to be previewing some area versus area games, and we might have to. If we get any of these over Christmas break or while the boys are home, we might have to make a stop.
Live coverage.
Sure. Live coverage. There you go. One thing I want to point out: Albany. Shout out Albany. They're a basketball school. A combined 10-0. Obviously, Monticello with the girls, little co-op situation, understandable. But Albany combined 10-0 among their sports. Although I see on Huddle, I think Albany boys might have a loss. So I don't know what 100% to, but we're going based on what we know.
We'll say half a loss.
We'll say half a loss. But how about Albany though? Dominating in the basketball field. Pretty good stuff. What else are we seeing here, Elson? Peck Argyle girls, their team, they're very active in the next week, playing some local teams. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. But Peck Argyle 5-0, averaging 74 points a game for the girls. That's pretty solid in ladies basketball.
Very strong start to the season. They went 25-2 last year, so not a huge surprise.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We got a fun one though. To be able to preview, but that's our ranking. So we'll be continuing. We'll post them on social media each week. That'll be a Wednesday thing, and then we'll talk about it, reveal them here on the pod. Super excited to be able to continue to do that. Maybe we'll make a road trip, go visit a couple games. I think it'd be fun. Playing sports, never really had the opportunity to go watch any other schools' basketball games, or even any other schools' different types of sports games. But yeah,
it's like a stadium tour, except it's just high school gyms.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we need. High school gyms, to me, arguably are a little bit of a better atmosphere than maybe.
Instead of trying say all the cool stadium foods that are unique to each MLB stadium, we just get a different candy from the concession stand every time.
Yeah. I mean, maybe each concession stand's got something special.
Maybe
maybe the Monroe Cheesemakers got some special cheese curds or something. I know they don't. I mean, they got Cater. Shout out to Cater Dairy, by the way. But maybe what's another mascot? Maybe the Darlington Redbirds got some type of red candy. All right, we might be getting a stretch here. That might be we might be getting out of ourselves here. There you go. There's your
ideas to invest in.
Yeah, there you go. Let's preview a couple of these games. Number one, Peck Argyle and girls basketball taking on the 10th team. So top versus bottom in our rankings. They're taking on Judah. This is a game tomorrow night. Elson Gratz.
I don't think that they drop this one. Peck Argyle coming off a semifinals season, and they are back with a vengeance. They were 8-0 in conference last year. They're not going to drop this on the road. I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, Peck Argyle very active this week. They got another game that we'll preview next between now and the next episode. But I think they get the job done against Judah big time. I think Peck Argyle, I mean, to me, this is going to be blowout material. This is digging in the second half, find things to talk about type of game. I'm going to go with Peck Argyle big in this one over Judah. What's Judah's mascot? Do we know?
Let me look this up because I have no idea. Are they the Knights or something?
Judah. What is Judah? I feel like I should know this. They're not the Ponies. That's Monticello.
They're purple and yellow. Does that help you?
What?
They're purple and yellow. Does that help you? I'm trying to find it right now.
The Broncos? No.
Why is this so
I know
hard?
they're
All
purple
right,
and yellow.
Judah School District. It looks like a lion or a hound of some kind. A cougar, maybe?
Okay. Well,
A panther?
could be the Panthers.
Maybe
Judah
they-
Panthers. That's what they are.
Are they? Okay.
They're the Panthers. Yeah, they're the
Glad we
Panthers.
figured that
yeah.
one out.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that one figured out. Judah Panthers. Judah Panthers. Shout out Judah. I think it's hard to figure that out because they're co-opt in a lot of sports. But I think basketball, maybe volleyball, some of the sports that they're alone in. But yeah, let's keep on moving to the next game. Peck Argyle, they're taking on the 6th team in our rankings. Evansville, this is a game next Tuesday. Elson Grass, what are you feeling this one?
I think Peck Argyle is going to hang tough, but Evansville is just a bigger school. Peck Argyle is really going to have to punch up to have a chance in this one. I think they're going to come up a little short.
I think I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go Peck Argyle over Evansville. I think this is going to be a tight game up to the first half, but I think the second half, Peck Argyle's got a good basketball team. For the ladies, I think that they're going to pull away in the second half. I'm going to go Peck Argyle. I believe they're the Vikings. I think they're the Vikings.
That sounds right. Early season statement, that would be moved to 7-0, I think.
Yeah, let's pull that up. I got them right here. 6-0 for them.
They're
Well,
sitting at
7-0, I
6-0
guess,
right
by
now.
then. They're 5-0 right now. If they beat Judah, then they would beat Evansville. Then that'd be 7-0.
Hot start.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think this is like I said, I think this is gonna be a second half win. I think Peck Argyle pulls it out late. Let's go to a different one, girls basketball. Another one on Tuesday, number 7 Broadhead taking on Blackhawk. A couple teams looking to. This could be a potential spicing up our rankings here, Elson. What do you think?
I think you've got them ranked well already. I think Broadhead's going to defend their home turf. I think they're at home for this one. I think they get it done.
Broadhead is averaging 54 points a game. Blackhawk 46. I'm going to take the numbers. Numbers don't lie. I'm going to say Broadhead to get the job done. I'm going to take a score prediction of 54-46 as well. That's my
regression
prediction.
to the mean is what we call that.
Sure. Yeah, you smart people call that. I don't even know what that means. But, yeah, there you go. So there's our local sports. Men's basketball, on the other hand, no games. And when we talk about local games, we talk about, like, an area team taking on an area team. Those are the games that we're going to preview. Obviously, our area teams might be playing conference opponents, outside of our spectacular little area that we're covering. But nothing in the men's basketball realm. So we'll see what that happens. Probably a little bit of a shakeup, though, in the rankings come next week. So super excited to do that. Let's get to a little bit off-season big-time deals, I guess, if you would. We got a new highest-paid man in the MLB. That's Juan Soto. Elson Gratz, how we feel about this bag?
Okay, so Juan Soto, awesome baseball player. I'm not saying that this is surprising or not earned, but 15 years, $765 million. Just let that sink in regardless of who the player is. The expansion of these MLB contracts to where you're paying guys into their early 40s, I understand it, but it is still wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that big conversation about should these guys be making as much money as they're making. And for most situations, I think yes, because if they're able to make it, then they should. And I guess that technically applies to this situation, but to me, they shouldn't be able to make it. There should be some sort of salary cap. The salary cap should probably be all of Juan Soto's contract. I mean, his contract alone should probably be a single team salary cap, maybe less. I mean, I know that's paid over 15 years, but point proven.
You can pay Juan Soto $765 million, but he's going to be the only guy on your team.
Well, for the Mets now, baseball as organization, baseball organizations, they got multiple teams. Juan Soto comes to town. Stephen Cohen sells 2 of the minor league teams. I'm not sure if you saw that. AAA team is gone and the high A team is gone. He sells those. He signs Juan Soto, I think, over the weekend. And then, I think yesterday he just sold those 2 teams. So I don't know if he needs a little bit of money. Maybe he's potentially going bankrupt, but those 2 teams are gone. But Juan Soto's there. I think when you actually look at it, though, I think Juan Soto, from his perspective, he's played for the Nationals, Padres, and Yankees so far in his career. He's still super young for how long he's been in the league. He's a guy, I mean, he's already bounced around 3 different clubs. I think he's a guy that's just seeking a little bit of consistency, someone who wants to be able to find a home. Obviously, 15 years for that kind of money. I think he's going to be in New York for a long time. Big thing though, going from the Yankees to the Mets, that's a big time like transition. A lot of people up in the Bronx not big fans of that, but I think this is a good pickup for the Mets. This is a team that made a little bit of a run this postseason. A team, they're going to get this slugger if they can do it. I think they should, and they did. Now, should they be able to do it? I don't think so, but that's a topic for another day. But yeah, selling two teams because you got this star player, that's just something else.
Juan Soto came up so young, one of the best sub 20-year-old baseball players when he first came up to the major leagues, and that really paid off for him. They really speed tracked him up. And now, you're 26 years old and you can get that 15 million or that 15-year, almost $800 million contract, just a contract that's not accessible to a lot of guys because they are a little older. I'm going to put you on the spot here. When do you think we see a $1 billion deal for the first time? 10 figures.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe that's a
Next
tough
year?
question. I mean, we got to be getting close. So Shohei was he 580?
He was right around 6, yes.
Right around 6. So we went from 6 to 765. So I mean, if we're going up by that increments, maybe just like 2 years right, roughly, maybe a year and a half if we're lucky.
I think it depends on if we see another player who breaks out as young as Juan Soto did. Because is 15 years the longest deal in MLB history? How many years is Shohei's?
I think that might be only 10. Maybe I think it's double digits for sure.
I believe so.
It's between 10 and 15. I'm not 100% sure on what it is, but it is interesting though, just kind of like the new era. You talk about new era with college football, talk about the new era with MLB. I mean, these guys are getting these massive contracts, deferring money till years, potentially. Like there's talks about like ownership stake, like teams are finding these different ways because there's no cap. It's just absurd to me that, I mean, how can we have an even playing field when, the Milwaukee Brewers or the Pittsburgh Pirates are paying, not even a quarter of their, I don't even know what the salary cap is or what their entire roster's payroll is compared to Juan Soto's contract for either of those two teams. But I think it's absurd. Talk about a Brewer, though, going on to the Giants. Willy Adames, the heart and soul of the Brewers, some people say, going to the Giants. He got paid. A lot of Brewer fans kind of knew this was coming, though. But it's sad to see Willie leave Milwaukee.
Big loss, anticipated loss. If there's a positive that comes out of this, though, we do get the 29th overall pick as compensation. We'll take that. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you spend it on another good shortstop.
Yeah, this is the typical Brewers move. You go out and get a guy, you turn him into the superstar, and then you can't afford him, or you just choose not to pay him because it seems like anybody can afford any of these guys nowadays. But Willie, I think we kind of, like I said, we knew that this was coming. We knew he was going to get paid. We knew he was going to go to some big market team because the Brewers weren't going to keep him. A lot of people had hopes, but a lot of people knew as well. I think the biggest thing here is that the Brewers are losing the offense. I think Willie was a slightly above average defensive player, but he was a very high above average offensive player, especially for Milwaukee standards, even just shortstop standards. So they're losing a lot of offense in that term. Why I say they're not losing much defense is because of the alternative. I think when you talk about a lot of talks that Joey Ortiz potentially moves to shortstop and potentially Sal Frelick gets put at third base. They experimented with that last spring training with Sal. There's potential there. Otherwise, Trang could potentially go to shortstop. Maybe Ortiz goes to second. There's a lot of maybe a young prospect comes up. Tyler Black's a guy that they talked about. There's a lot of different options that they can play around. And I mean, the biggest loss, though, for sure, is going to be the offense that Willy Adames produces. And I hope as a Brewer fan that we go out, I don't know what position we necessarily need because it seems like we kind of got a guy everywhere. But just like a veteran guy who's going to hit at least 20 bombs a year, just someone that we can put in maybe as the DH or plug and play. It seems like depth is everything, and you can't have enough players. Let's just get someone who's just going to produce offense. Maybe they're a mediocre defensive player. But I think they just got to go out and get someone that could, fill half the shoes of Willy Adames. Because right now, I mean, if you talk about Joey Ortiz, Bryce Terang, and Sal Frelick, that's not much offense at all.
I think you absolutely covered it. I was going to say they'll probably shuffle around Terang or Ortiz and have him fill that spot. But you're just not going to replace 122 RBIs in the early part of the order. That's too big of an ask, I think, for Milwaukee. But hopefully you moneyball it. You replace some of that in the aggregate. Try and get stronger all around. and maybe you can make up for some of not having Adamas.
Yeah, I mean, you think about just kind of the pieces. Maybe you get a fully healthy for the all 162 Garrett Mitchell. He's a guy I think's got 20 homer power. He's got potential there. Obviously, Jackson Cheerio is going to continue to get better. Yelich comes back. That's just in the outfield. I think that's part of the reason why potentially Sal Frelick goes to third base, because it's just such a full outfield. Rhys Hoskins coming back. I think he's going to continue to get better. Last year, coming off that ACL, Willie Contreras as well. So they still got good pieces, but that's just a big offense. I mean, you think about it though, in the postseason, Willie Adames was a non-factor. He didn't produce anything in the playoffs for the Brewers. It was all the young guys. Cheerio and Mitchell and Turang had big days. Those are the young guys. So if you kind of think about that standard, I think the Brewers still have a divisional winning caliber team. I think, are we getting over that playoff hump? Probably not.
Maybe I'm high on hope here, but I think the arrow is still pointing up on Milwaukee. Getting younger is crucial because you're not just going to be able to buy your way to a championship caliber team when you're the Milwaukee Brewers. It's got to be homegrown talent. You got to have the right guys hitting at the right time. I think we're going to have a puncher's chance next year.
Yeah, we'll see it. A lot of free agency to go. A lot of good opportunity to see who else comes into Milwaukee. I think there's a little bit of optimism still to be held. Sucks to see Willie leave, though. Let's go with a little college football. We had a little bit of breaking news. Actually, we're not breaking it. We're just, we're talking about it. Bill Belichick going back to college to Chapel Hill with North Carolina and the Tar Heels. Elson, how do we feel about this?
First of all, this actually is insider news. He told us that. We're the first ones to break this story.
Yeah,
We've
right on
made
the
it
text.
official.
I got one right here, yeah.
Absolutely wild. At first, when I heard that there was a possibility of Belichick signing with the Tar Heels, I didn't really buy it. Thought that was kind of a media smokescreen. I mean, we've all been speculating about if and where Bill Belichick would end up in a head coaching gig. There was talk about him potentially being a defensive coordinator, about taking on a head coaching role in the NFL. I don't know. Just at his age, trying something new out, going to the college ranks. I'm really interested to see where this goes. I may be a little more pessimistic than most. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating. We'll see how much of it translates.
Yeah, this is a little interesting. I don't know if it's really sunk in yet. I don't really know what to feel about it. I think Bill Belichick he's desperate to get back into coaching. You
just
just based
think
on
so.
he has to be. To go to North Carolina, I think it's a good gig. I think part of this new era of college football, we're kind of seeing almost like celebrity hires. It kind of seems like Deion Sanders going to Colorado being successful. To me, Bill Belichick's a celebrity hire going to North Carolina. We see these mediocre to bad programs, and now this celebrity hire comes into town and turns it around. Bill Belichick's going to do a great job in North Carolina, no doubt about it. I don't know if this is actually part of the thing. I don't know if it's actually finalized. They're working on finalizing a deal, I think is the reports that actually came out. But a part of that I heard earlier this week was Bill's son, Steven, I believe is his name. The plan is once Bill retires or is done coaching there, Steven will take the job over after that. And supposedly what I heard earlier in the week, that UNC was open to that. And clearly, if that's a part of the deal, then they were. So that's a kind of an interesting thing there. To just kind of see how that goes. I'm assuming that Steven will be a part of the coaching staff while Bill is there. But it's kind of interesting that Bill Belichick's not waiting until potentially the coaching cycle in the NFL to see if there's any interest for him there at the pros.
We've got a dynasty going in North Carolina already. In all seriousness, though, there are two things that concern me about this hire. The first one is, are these young college kids, are they going to be able to grasp his defense? Because what Bill Belichick does is defense. He's one of the greatest defensive minds of all time, but he's got high expectations. That is really well documented from his time with the Patriots. He runs a complex system. He expects these guys to know exactly what's going on. And then we're in the NIL era of college football. Is he going to be able to recruit? He's really going to have to learn something new. That's why I'm so fascinated, because if anybody can figure it out, it's probably Bill Belichick, but we're just going to have to see. I think this has a lot of disaster potential, dare I say.
I think that's kind of the big question right now, though, is in terms of how is he going to adjust to this new era? How is he going to recruit? How is he going to handle NIL? Different aspects like that. I think he seems like more of an old school coach. So how does he adjust? That, like you said, that's a pretty fascinating aspect of this. But overall, it's super intriguing. I'm excited to be able to kind of keep up with seeing where this goes and keeping up on it. I think one of the things, because he was talking about earlier on the Pat McAfee show Monday or Tuesday this week, and he referred to of kind of his plan of what he would potentially do if he got the job. Obviously, now getting the job, he wants to create a pro-style college program that is a streamlined to the pros, teaching and kind of running it like an NFL program. I don't know how that's going to translate. I don't know how many people. We said the same thing about Dion, though. How many people are going to want to play with Dion, especially when he went to Colorado from Jackson State? I think this is going to be fine. Like I said, I think Bill Belichick's perfectly fine. He's going to be successful, but kind of interesting. No doubt about it. Fascinating, like you said. Excited to keep up with it. But Elson Gratz, it's draft risers and fallers. We got a big-time conference week risers and things to talk about. Draft's right around the corner. Elson Gratz, take it away.
It was a fun one, a lot of great games, and there were two players that really stuck out to me this week. One of them was really, really hard to miss, and that was Cam Scadaboo, who ran absolutely all over Iowa State. 16 carries. It felt like more for 170 and 2 touchdowns, credited with 11 broken tackles. It sure felt like more than that when you were watching this game. And the thing about Scadaboo, the reason that he wasn't on a lot of people's preseason draft boards, I believe he transferred up, but he's not fast. He's not a super athletic slashing type of running back, but it just really doesn't matter when he refuses to go down. I saw a clip of his high school tape where he breaks off of about 10 tackles where you can't even see him because he is covered in high school defensive players, and he just wiggles out of it somehow. And eventually, about 25 seconds after he takes the handoff, he finds himself in the end zone. Well, that's translated to college. He plays the exact same way, bouncing off of tackles, just kind of churning the legs and working his way out into the end zone. The question, how is it going to translate to the pros? Right now, the hype is just starting to catch up with him. He's considered a late round guy, could rise to the mid rounds. And then on the opposite side of the ball, Jabbar Muhammad from Oregon, a guy that was known in the preseason because he is super productive. 27 passes defended in the last 2 seasons, is number 1 of any player. I had my doubts because he's not a super athletic player either. A lot of the times we see these defensive backs who are really good in college, and people see the eye-popping plays. They see the physicality, the tackling. That guy sticks out when you're watching him. But then the scouts get their eyes on him, and they see the lack of athleticism, and they don't know how well it's going to translate. And he tumbles down boards. Think Keely Ringo was cornerback 1 2 years ago up until about 2 months before the draft, and he went in, I think, the 5th round. I think we see something different with Jabbar Muhammad because he is just so physical, so sticky. 2 pass breakups, surrendered 2 catches for 23 yards against Penn State, which is a very good passing offense. Just a fantastic cornerback prospect. And I think he's really shored up his stock as a day 2 type of player. He's exceeded my expectations already.
Brilliant stuff as always, Elson. Cam Scadaboo, all-time name list for sure. Scadaboo is a perfect running back name. This kid's a stud. The only game I've ever watched him play was this weekend in the Big 12 championship, and he balled out. He breaks tackles like no one else. I think there was something about him kind of considering himself like he thinks he should be a Heisman candidate. Maybe he should be. I don't know. But I think
production.
He came on a little bit too late, I think, at least getting like that recognition aspect. But I think he's a guy that I think could be potentially pretty dang good in the NFL on Sundays. If team picks him up, late rounds, like you said, I mean, thank you very much. If he turns out to be something nowadays, a running back really of any draft stock can turn into something good.
His pro comp right now is a bowling ball for me.
That's brilliant. I think that actually fits it well, and I think defenders are referred to as pins.
There you go.
I mean, that's absolutely good stuff, Elson. As always, Heisman finalists were named over the weekend. 4 big guys going to New York. Travis Hunter, the 2-way player from Colorado that we all know. Ashton Genty, running back, Boise State. And 2 quarterbacks, Cam Ward from Miami and Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. Elson, if you had to pick a guy to win the Heisman right now, who are you taking?
I'm taking Ashton Genty, man.
Ashton
It's
Genty.
a real battle between him and Travis Hunter. because Travis Hunter is so unique. He's an excellent wide receiver and an excellent cornerback. He's not just good at both positions. He's great at both positions. He even plays special teams. But Ashton Genty is breaking records. There is not a single thing that he does poorly. He is truly a complete player. And he's passed essentially every single test on the season. He is a walking 200-yard game, and he's still going. We're going to get to see him in the playoffs. Cam Ward had a good season. Dylan Gabriel had a good season. They're not anomalies like Genty and Hunter are. And, man, I just can't deny how fun and how incredibly productive Ashton Genty is.
We got to like this. We've been talking about the whole new era thing all show long. But we got to like this. I mean, we got 2 position players as the front runners right now for Heisman. Normally, it's 4 quarterbacks sitting there for the Heisman Trophy. We got to love this, right, Elson?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's more fun when it's not just a quarterback every single year. And I think if the direction we see college football going in is we do have more standout position players, maybe guys on the defensive side, I would love that. I think that makes the award much better and much more legitimate.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter, though. I think Ashton Genty is the type of season he's having a Heisman caliber season, no doubt about it. He's breaking records, but we've seen that before. My argument is that we have not seen a two-way player like Travis Hunter for a while. And Travis Hunter is, like you said, not just a really good wide receiver who can play cornerback. He's really good at both positions. And I 100% think this is something that's just new. He's talented at both. It's kind of like that whole Shohei Ohtani two-way type thing when he came into the league, and he's now risen to not the highest paid player now, but maybe the best player in the MLB. And I think Travis Hunter is going to bring a similar type of pioneerism to the NFL when he gets there. I like it. I think Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty is deserving too, potentially a future Cowboy, but I think Travis Hunter is probably the Heisman favorite for me right now.
I'm not going to argue with you. This has been a wild season. The fact that we have both these guys competing for the same trophy, that's just not even fair.
Yeah, good stuff. And we are loving college football right now. Playoffs coming. Super excited. We'll preview a little bit of that, but we got to get to some games that happened over the weekend. Big 12 championship game. We'll get to the SEC, Big 10, ACC, etc. But Cam Skattebo, we talked about him before. Iowa State, Arizona State. Cam Skattebo, a big part of this blowout here in the Big 12.
45-19. They made a statement. Arizona State is getting red hot. They were on a mission here. Iowa State hung with them a bit at the beginning, but Arizona State just had no quit. They played through the whistle every single play, jumped out to an early lead, and then ultimately when Iowa State had to press a little bit, Rocco Beck, their quarterback, made a few mistakes, and they pulled away off turnovers and ran up the score. I'm excited to see what they do in the tournament.
Skattebo with the brightest lights on him goes for 16, 170, and 2 tuds. That's pretty impressive. Elson, do you think what's his name? Kenny Dillingham, their head coach. Is he your favorite right now for Coach of the Year, or do you think someone else?
I still got to go with Cignetti. I mean, that is fair. It's the best season in Indiana history by a mile. It's tough. There are so many good candidates this year. It really does feel unique in that way, but I can't deny Curt Cignetti right now.
Cignetti, I think, is fair to say that's number one. I think Arizona State their coach probably number 2. I think just kind of thinking, I think they're projected 4 wins this year, and look where they're at now. For sure. I think that's a fun one there. SEC championship. This was a crazy game as well. Carson Beck goes down, doubtful for the college football playoff, but Georgia finds a way. Gunnar Stockton, excuse me, saves. Is it Gunnar or Nick? Are they the same
Gunnar.
Gunnar. Are brothers? Gunnar? What are they? Where did I find Nick? I have Nick in my head, but Gunnar on the page.
John Stockton.
I'll fact check.
Yes, Gunnar Stockton.
Gunnar Stockton. Is there a person named Nick Stockton?
I should have been sure. Yes, Gunnar.
Who's Nick Stockton? He's
Nick
he works for a welding company.
Nick Singleton is a running back from Penn State.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. It could be him. Anyways, massive game in the SEC. A fun one to watch. Gunnar Stockton came in. He played pretty well considering, the situation and what he did. I think he won the game for the Bulldogs.
He played well in a big spot, filled big shoes. However, I think the story of this game was more the defenses, two really excellent units, and ultimately the Bulldogs owned the trenches. Trevor Etienne went 16 for 94, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime. I think the run game is fundamentally what got it done for Georgia. And Texas also had 2 costly field goal misses, one from 42, one from 51. We could be looking at a different final score if those connect.
Do you think Carson Beck being out, does that hurt Georgia's opportunities at all going into the college football playoff, or
It
do we
does.
feel confident?
Beck has been heating up a little bit. He ran into a rocky road kind of midway through the season where he was turning the ball over too much, was one of the nation's worst quarterbacks under pressure, but he's really turned it on down the stretch as a senior. Looked like he was on a mission, wants the natty. I do think that replacing him with Gunnar Stockton, who he played pretty good for the spot. I don't think they're the same caliber passer. I do think that hurts Georgia's odds.
Yeah, I think so too. But like you said, Carson Beck was striving towards the end of that season. He's kind of, especially gotten better. I think he's kind of a guy who is going to he maybe plays a little bit better. I mean, he kind of struggled in some of those big time games, regular season, but into the playoffs, who knows what kind of performance we're going to get out of him. But we'll see what Gunnar Stockton can do. They got a first round bye. So who knows? Maybe Carson Beck finds a way to play. Odds are probably not. But anyways, I'm excited to watch Gunnar Stockton. He's fun to watch in the SEC championship. No doubt about it. Big Ten championship. This is like a complete opposite of what we normally see in the Big Ten, but the boys of the Big Ten, massive shootout in Indy.
You add Oregon, and this is what happens. Unbelievable. They're ruining Big Ten football. However, the story of this game kind of actually was the rushing attacks. So there's still some Big Ten-ness there. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen combined for 24 carries, 229 yards, and a touchdown. They dominated on the ground, but Dylan Gabriel, it was just too complete of an offensive performance from the Ducks. They got a little bit of pressure on Drew Aller, made a couple of mistakes. And when you have to score this much to keep it competitive, a couple mistakes is all it takes to walk away with the win.
Yeah, this was a fun one. I was able to catch the second half of this game, the fourth quarter, I'd say. Probably the most entertaining part of this game, potentially. But yeah, I think the Ducks, Oregon's got to be obviously the only undefeated team really left in college football. They're the most complete team, offensively, defensively. They outlast Penn State, who's another good team. But they get the Big Ten championship, Pac-12 team coming into town. People say maybe the Big Ten's not as strong as the Pac-12 as it was, but this is the new era. This is the new Big Ten. It's not the old Pac-12. It's the new Big Ten, and the Ducks get the job done. ACC championship, though, crazy 56-yard buzzer beater field goal for Clemson gets them the job done. SMU made this game close. It was early in the game. It was a blowout, but SMU made it close, and Clemson wins.
SMU's run defense really stepped up. They didn't let Clemson have anything on the ground. Got back early, but it didn't matter. Cade Klubnik made it not matter. Great game through the air, stepped up late. Kevin Jennings on the SMU end, a guy who is not on my draft board. He's been a really fun player replacing Preston Stone, who I did know about. Made this a close game. It was a really fun one, but Clemson got too hot late. And it's going to be so interesting to see what the Tigers do in the playoffs. I still feel like I don't have a read on how good they are.
Yeah, I personally don't think they're very good. They're actually
horrible. Good in this one?
I think they got the job done. I think this is kind of favorable in terms of weather. SMU, I don't think, is built for that cold weather. I think it's crazy they're playing in an outdoor stadium for a conference championship game. ACC's got to step up their game, in my opinion. But Clemson, to me, should not have been ranked for as much of the weeks that they have been by the AP poll. But in terms of Clemson, that I don't know. They're sneaking at the 12th seed, if that says anything, because they won their championship. They just didn't play anybody all year long, but they find a way to win the ACC championship. Credit to Dabo, I suppose, but they get the job done. So let's preview a couple of these games going into the college football playoff. We got a fun one. We got a little bracket here. We'll show you that. Let's start. A couple fun matchups here. I think in terms of what we're seeing, I think there's already kind of a lot of people that are making their own opinions or their own assumptions about what should potentially change in the college football playoff to make it better. NCAA and the college football committee, the playoff committee, are open to making changes based on what happened in year one. I got a couple ideas. Alson, do you have any thoughts on how do you feel about the playoff scheme and how it's set up so far and what we're previewing as we head into this 12-team new era college football playoff?
I don't mind it, but all the good bowl games just being part of the playoffs feels not right to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I really never thought about that aspect of it. I think my biggest flaw, and I think a lot of people are kind of starting to realize this, is I feel like the 4 buys should. I don't know if they should go to the conference champions. I think they should probably just go to the 4 top teams, because we're seeing ASU and Boise State, both teams that, in my opinion, are probably going to lose against probably Penn State and Texas. And so I don't know if that's how it should be. I mean, the way that they seeded it as a Notre Dame fan, I think is absolutely crazy how they got the 5th seed, even though they're still a 1-loss team. Anyways, but it probably should be Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas, and maybe Georgia, I guess, based on the way they put it. I'd probably still put Penn State over Georgia for the top 4 teams. But that's probably how it should be. Obviously, I think it should be more of an automatic bid as a conference champion. It's kind of similar to the March Madness. Obviously, more teams. But what are your thoughts on that?
Texas needing to play their way in to then face Arizona State with a bye is just hilarious to me.
It's absurd. Yeah, I mean, looking at this now, and this is something I didn't really realize until, seeing the bracket, but Penn State and Texas, both teams that lost their conference championships, actually, in my opinion, yeah, they got to play another game, but I think they have an advantage over Georgia and Oregon. I mean, let's just say all the favorite to win. Penn State, second round, Penn State has to play Boise State. I think that's pretty favorable. Texas has to play Arizona State. That's pretty favorable. Both of them lost their conference championships. Oregon, best team in the country, won their conference championship. They're going to have to play Ohio State or Tennessee. Georgia is probably going to have to play Notre Dame or even, Indiana for that sake too. I mean, the level of competition here, we're rewarding teams for losing. I don't know. I think there's something that's got to be said for that.
I really do think that's a good observation. Maybe you don't want the bye. It depends. It strongly depends. There is room for growth. For the first year, I do like the 12-team playoff better. I like it dramatically more than the 14, but it could be cleaned up, and I think they will clean it up.
I think so too. I think beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. I mean, we're getting a 12-team playoff. It's pretty awesome in itself.
About time.
A few things to clean up. It's the first year. Give them a break. They'll figure it out. All the confidence in the world. Let's preview a couple of these games, make a couple of predictions. Number 7, Notre Dame hosting in South Bend over number 10, Indiana. Who do you like in this one? I
think Indiana can hang. Obviously, a tough loss against Ohio State where they were kind of what we thought they were. They got out physical. But I think that Notre Dame has some vulnerabilities in the secondary. I think Indiana is going to be able to move the ball against them. I'm still going to take the Fighting Irish.
That's the right answer. I don't think there should be any more discussion. I think Notre Dame blows them out of the water. 11, SMU taking on Penn State, the number 6 team. Who do we like here?
SMU is fun. I think Penn State's just going to be able to run their offensive script. They have a vicious defensive line that's going to make things tough for Kevin Jennings and company. I think they're too complete. I think that the Lions are going to win this one by 10.
Yeah, I think Penn State better than the 6th overall team in the country, but based on the standings, I guess, in that term. But yeah, I think Penn State's just this could be a potential blowout material. I think Penn State gets the job done over SMU. SMU going up to a whiteout situation, even though it's a noon game, which is ironic, but going up to a whiteout, cold weather. I think Penn State dominates this one all the way. Number 12, Clemson taking on number 5, Texas. I'm going to go Texas in this one. Enough said. Elson, what do you think?
I don't trust Quinn Ewers, Ethan. We're going with Clemson in the upset.
You think, out of all the teams that made the college football playoff, you think Clemson is going to be the team?
They're hot at the right time.
They haven't been hot all year, Elson.
They are now.
Because of a field goal.
Yes. A long field goal, a 56-yarder. Who kicked that? Let me check on that because they're added to my draft board officially. Nolan Hauser, welcome to the board. I think he's a freshman, so in 4 years, watch out for him in the pros.
Oh my gosh, I just don't
They've
even
got
think
the
that's
star power. They have the better kicker.
Texas is going to blow them out of the water. I think
Texas
Arch Manning
has had
would probably put up
a
60
kicking
on them.
game this season.
So they score touchdowns. They don't even need to kick field goals, especially against Clemson. Give me a break. Austin, the atmosphere down in Austin is going to be massive. I think Clemson doesn't even have a chance. I'm gonna go Longhorns. I think you're foolish, and I'll laugh at you when that happens.
There's going to be a lot of orange in the stands, Ethan. Now, who the orange is going to be for, we'll see.
Yeah, the burnt orange, not the blaze orange. Burnt orange. No purple either, whatever that is. This is probably the biggest toss-up of the first round. Tennessee and Ohio State. This is a tough one for me. Elson, who are you taking?
Ohio State by 17.
Really?
Yes.
Really? I'm going to go Tennessee. I think Tennessee gets the job done. Why should I trust Ryan Day to win the big game? Only thing that he's done all year and pretty much his whole career is beat Penn State once this year. I think Tennessee, I like Nico. I think he struggled, but I think I like him. I think Tennessee can win the big games. They're SEC school. I think I'm gonna go Tennessee in this one. I don't like going chalk either. And you went Clemson to break your chalk.
No chalk here.
Interesting. Very interesting. There you go. There's our predictions. We'll continue to monitor this. Bowl season, I believe, starts up next week. So excited to kind of see what other non-important games we get to watch in those standard as well. Fantasy football, Elson, are we alive still? How are you doing?
Yep, we had the bye because of the suspect system, we'll say, which is funny because I actually had Josh Allen, do Josh Allen things, and Jordan Addison have like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. I can't wait for Addison to have 1 catch for 11 yards while I lose to Mitchell. That's my early prediction. 1 and done.
Right. Yeah. I felt pretty confident in my matchup against Lucas all weekend long. Started Thursday, went into Sunday, and then Monday rolled around. I had a pretty good lead and didn't even care to check fantasy football on Monday while I was watching my Cowboys. That's a tough one. We'll talk about it later. And then I looked as I was going to bed because I was like, let's see how we did. It was a 4-point game because of Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is insane fantasy football wide receiver. But I ended up getting the job done. We got the dub. Moving on to play Keaton. I think Keaton might be the worst team in the playoffs right now. He got a 4th seed, got the bye because he's in the worst division in the league. So I'm pretty content with where I'm at playing him, but that could come back to bite me. Karma's a real thing, but I get a job done here. I think I got a good chance making a road to the old championship game.
Would you agree that any manager who trades away Jamar Chase is an idiot?
I guess context is important. It depends on what they get back, but they got to get a lot for Jamar Chase. Probably would have to overpay for a guy like him.
I forgot who traded Jamar to Lucas, but feels like a bad decision to me.
Yeah, I agree too. For sure. If I remember that one correctly, I believe Lucas, he got him pretty cheap. Not Jamar Chase caliber.
I think the guy who traded him away got back like Najee and Tank Dell and like some bum named Ceedee or some. And the guy who traded him away, as far as I know, wants him back. We're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Hey, I had Kareem Hunt, okay? I needed another running back.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. I had picked him up in a different league. I picked Kareem. You want to talk about bad trades? I did Malik Neighbors for Kareem Hunt. I was sick of Malik Neighbors and his inconsistent play, and I got Kareem Hunt, and he was going crazy at the time, and I needed a running back. Because of some bye weeks and stuff. But then I pick him up, and he didn't drop more than 13, I think, from the point that I got him until Pacheco came back. So don't even worry about that. Here we go. NFL. We'll start with that Thursday night game. The Packers just couldn't quite get the job done against the Lions. Dan Campbell sticks to his guns, and it works out for the Detroit Lions.
I'm not just saying this because it happened against my Packers. Can we both agree that 4th down play call at the end instead of just kicking the field goal was objectively stupid?
No, I think it's brilliant if you actually think about it. Because you're giving if you don't get it, and it was a 4th and 1, was it? Was it 4th and 1?
It was around there. It was maybe roughly, 4th and a short 2.
In my opinion, a 4th and 1, honestly, on any part of your field, you should be going for it. If especially if you're in the NFL, if you're not capable of falling forward on a QB sneak, a fullback dive, halfback, whatever it is, or passing it, Cooper Rush threw a deep shot on 4th and 1 to CeeDee Lamb early in the game on Monday. if you're not capable of just simply falling forward on any part of the field, I don't think you deserve to be out there. 4th and 1, anybody should be going for it any given day. They're inside the 20-yard line, I think the Lions were. And so if you don't get it for whatever reason, especially the Detroit Lions, I mean, they're not going to get that. If you don't give it, you get Jordan Love the ball with, I don't know, what was it, minute
40
30
seconds,
left?
no timeouts.
40 seconds, no timeouts to go the length of the field.
But the
I don't
game
think
is
so.
tied.
It's tied, yeah. I don't give it to him. I don't. Jordan Love hasn't proven that he can do that.
That's fair. Well, however, think about why you're running that play. You're not running that to move the field goal closer. You're running it because you're scared of Jordan Love getting the ball with 40 seconds left with the chance to drive downfield and either score a touchdown and win or tie it up with a field goal. I feel like that's a major outside shot too. I like my odds better if you just kick and you make him drive downfield as opposed to you don't get it. Now you only need a field goal and you're done.
Yeah, I think the way I look at it though is, would you rather? Who knows if the kicker makes the kick from that point? I would assume he would. It's not like it's absurd.
He's
But
been nailed.
Let's say
Jake Bates, I think it is.
Yeah, let's say he makes it, right? So, would you rather, kick the field goal, go up 3 with 40 seconds to go, on the kickoff, give them the ball between the 30 and the 40-yard line. Let's say the 30 on a touchback. Probably won't kick it to him. Give it to him on the 30. Or would you rather run the ball, 4th and 1, odds are you're probably going to get it. Ice the game. You get it, you win the game. Because assuming that he's going to make the kick. Or you score a touchdown at some point. I was hoping for Dave Montgomery. I needed the fantasy points besides the point. Or you don't get it, and you have to – they still need to go down and get a field goal. Either way, they're trying to get a field goal, either to tie the game or win the game. But they got to go another 20 yards, 15, 10, 20 yards. I'd like it. I think 4th and 1 on any part of the field, you should be going for it no matter the situation.
It's hard for me to mind the aggressiveness because I think coaches don't go for it enough. So even if Dan Campbell kind of dials that up to 11, I don't think it's a bad strategy. The Packers did force a turnover on downs on a pitch play. I don't know why they ran a pitch play on 4th and short, but when you get it, it's good. When you don't get it, I think you live with it because I think it wins Detroit games.
It is. I mean, it's been their MO. Why go away from it? I think it was a fun one to watch and lived up to the hype. No doubt about it. That Lions team is different. This was a crazy game for the Vikings. Vikings went over the Falcons 42-21. Vikings offense went bazonkers. You mentioned Jordan Addison went crazy. His friend Justin Jefferson did too. But their quarterback, Sam Darnold, crazy game for him as well.
So the box score doesn't really do this one justice. This was a close game up until the 4th quarter when the Vikings pass rush got home. Kirk Cousins made a few mistakes. He's made more than a few mistakes this season. He's having a rough year coming off that Achilles. However, Atlanta's defense, oh my God, things are not good right now. Did you see the Justin Jefferson touchdown?
I can't say I did.
All right, let me see if I can outline this. So Justin Jefferson just kind of runs down the field. I don't know if it was a skinny post or what, but I think it was DL for the slot corner. He was rotating up to play like a half field deep zone. And he just absolutely panics and gets lost. He's looking the wrong direction. He's opening his hips both ways. And then he's about 10 yards away from Jefferson, and he dives on the ground like when you accidentally hit the square button in Madden when you're nowhere near anybody. And Justin Jefferson is just sitting down there like it's a kick return. He camps out underneath the ball, catches it like in the breadbasket, and jogs into the end zone. One of the worst coverage busts I have ever seen. Something is seriously wrong when you have AJ Terrell and Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates. And this is what the defense looks like every single week. And I think part of that is the pass rush, which is among the worst units in the league. But there's a coaching issue in Atlanta as well, I think. And it's a big reason that they have lost control of the NFC South. The defense has not been good enough.
Raheem Morris, head coach for Atlanta. Is he also their D coordinator? I believe he is, right?
He's the defensive play caller, yes. And that's why it's so surprising because this is totally unexpected.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to play that guy, but I feel like out of all the head coaches that were hired, maybe Mike Macdonald, for Seattle, I think he was like kind of one of the more question marks that got hired over the last offseason. I mean, we know, obviously the Rams defense coordinator, I believe, before his head coaching job in Atlanta. They had a good defense, but it seemed like it was his time. But it was like, okay, I mean, it's not like this absolutely dominant, like number one kind of guy. There's just a little bit of a question mark. I think this is, in a way, somehow what expected. But yeah, the defense has got to get going. Good secondary doesn't always work. I mean, you can only cover the best athletes in the world for a certain amount of time, especially like Justin Jefferson. And if your pass rush can't apply any type of pressure, and you can have a guy, even like a Sam Darnold, just sit in the pocket and just be able to torch a defense, I mean, you're unmatched. There's no opportunity, I think. That Falcons pass rush, and they just got to figure it out. I think it'll be interesting to see how they move forward in that. But kudos to the Lions or the Vikings. They got a nice big job, big one here, and they're looking good for that wild card.
Things are really clicking down there, it feels like.
Talk about shootout, Elson Gratz. 42-44. This was an insane game, no doubt about it. Because of the stupid rules, I wasn't able to watch it because I live in Milwaukee. Stupid, but there you go. Bills couldn't quite get the job done. Puka, I enjoyed the fantasy points from Puka, but him and the Rams get the job done against the Bills.
This may have been the game of the year, and I didn't expect it to be like this. However, I knew that there was a version of the Rams that would play or that could play really well in this game, and here's why. It feels like they haven't quite been able to get everything going. It feels like every game there's a little something missing. Like they had that good game against the Vikings on Thursday night, if you remember that. However, it's sometimes Matt Stafford is having a bad night. Sometimes the receivers are more quiet than you expect. Sometimes they can't get the run game going. The offensive line is back and healthy. All 5 starters are back in the lineup. Even like the backup swing tackles are back. They were down to their third stringers, and it was really affecting Matt Stafford, who's an older quarterback who doesn't move super well. You give him time, he can sling it. And this is a very good Bills secondary. However, if they don't get pressure, if you're forcing these guys like Rasul Douglas and Christian Benford, who are good, they're smart, but they're not super fast and athletic. If you make them stay out there for a long time, your guys are going to get separation. And when you've got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp who can moss anyone at any time, yeah, you can drop 44. As for the Bills, I mean, what even is there to say? This offense is the best in the league, I think, pretty safely. Detroit is up there, but they can drop 40 on anyone. And this was the best version of this game. Ultimately, a blocked punt returned for a touchdown is what decided it.
Yeah, this was an insane game, no doubt about it. But I mean, what do you expect from this Bills team? Like you mentioned, I mean, this is a Josh Allen team. He dropped, 65 points in fantasy or something, 50, 60
I think
points?
there's the most fantasy points of any quarterback ever, which, by the way, I had both Josh Allen and Puka get started against me in the 12-man league. 185 to 160.
That's crazy. I think this was overall a pretty high-scoring game in terms of or a high-scoring week, I guess, in terms of fantasy football with people playing and with the stuff that they're doing. But yeah, I mean, this is a crazy one. I think the only other 60-point performance, obviously Jamar had a 60-point game this year. I forget who that was against, but the only other one I can really kind of think of is Alvin Kamara. I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. He dropped 6 touchdowns. That's the only other one that might be remotely close. But other than that, those boys balling out for sure. This is a fun one. How about a doink field goal to win it on the third string kicker for the 2-time defending Super Bowl champs, looking for their third? I mean, come on. I mean, we're just sick of this, aren't we, Elson?
Of course it has to be a doink. They were in chip shot field goal range, and because it's the Chiefs, they have to win the game by inches. The Chiefs are good. They have a good defense. I thought that they were really going to limit a Chargers offense that's down their top player this game in Ladd McConkey. And that's exactly what they did. Justin Herbert got his because he's an elite quarterback, but the Chiefs just do their thing. They outlast them. The Chargers defense did a good job as well. It's a really well-coached unit. They're physical. They limited a very unexplosive Kansas City offense, but every week the Chiefs are just a little bit better. And unlike, say, the Raiders game, the Broncos one where they blocked the kick at the end, they were authentically the better team. They deserve to win this game, but every week, sometimes it's by a point, sometimes it's by 2. I don't know what to think about this team going into the playoffs.
Seems like they find ways to win any type of game that they're in. I mean, whether that's luck or it's handed to them or they're just good, I don't know. You make that decision. But yeah, I think the Chargers Chiefs, they always play a nice little tight game. It's always a fun one to watch. It's usually like low scoring. It's a grind kind of game. One in the trenches for sure. That's Jim Harbaugh kind of football, and Andy Reid can kind of play any type of football he wants with this team, it seems like. But fun game as well. Chiefs, I believe they clinched the division yet, or they just playoffs?
Oh, I imagine they did.
Yeah. So we'll be watching them come postseason. It'll be fun to see if they can go 3 times in a row. We'll see. Let's talk a little Monday Night Football. Tough one for my boys. Bengals get the job done 27-20. Elson Gratz, what'd you see in this one?
Be real with me. Did you actually want your Cowboys to win this game? Do you want to sacrifice the draft position?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to make the playoffs if we won this game.
I'm just happy for the Bengals, seeing Joe Burrow with a smile on his face for the first time in a while. The best part of this game is they actually didn't have to play completely perfect. Joe Burrow did have an interception. He might have fumbled at one point as well.
He got it back.
A handful of turnovers. He got it back. But for once, they didn't have to score every single drive. I thought that they were the better team. I still think they're dead. We're hearing some talks about how the Bengals are roping people back in. They're going to win out. They're going to make the playoffs. The defense is still atrocious, probably the worst in the league. I know the Panthers exist, but even they play the Eagles close this week. The Bengals are done, but Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are fun to watch every week.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Burrow's smile. I'm assuming that was probably after the game during the interview. I'm assuming also that was before he was notified that his house was broken into. That's what you get, buddy, for beating my Cowboys. I mean, whatever got into the little Aru guy's last name. I don't know how to say his name. Whatever got in your head that you're supposed to go touch the ball. And hero mentality is what locked in there. He's going to try and catch it, return it, win the game for the Cowboys, whatever. No, dude, let it go. You did your job by just not touching it. And now here we are. Playoff hopes are gone. Now we got to tank. We want to tank. It's going to be hard to tank against the Panthers this week. I don't know how you can tank. I don't know. It'd be harder to try and lose against the Panthers or try and win. I think it'd be harder to try and lose than it would actually try and win against that team. I don't know. We're gonna find out, I guess, Sunday. But yeah, you just don't touch the football. I mean, you learn that stuff in Pee Wee football, and it's a tough one. It's not a good look for the Cowboys. It's hard to not point that back on coaching, but. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of in a situation here where if we win games, we're going to be making the playoffs. If we lose games, we're getting a better draft pick. So it's kind of a win-win situation. There's always optimism. But yeah, I think Ashton Genty, that's tank for Genty, or what did they say?
2 things. 1, you claim to be a Cowboys fan and you don't know how to pronounce Amani or Oruwariye. Unbelievable.
Okay, sorry, Elson. I think where was he projected in the draft? I'm sure you had him picked out when he was coming.
I think he used to be in Detroit. He actually was kind of a high draft pick, if I remember correctly. Low IQ decision there. And then second, the Panthers are absolutely going to beat the crap out of the Cowboys next week. Well, they might. I think they're -2.5 right now on the road, and that might be my top pick of the week. I'm not kidding. We'll see. I haven't done my research yet.
I hope they lose at this point. I mean, we had to win out to have any chance of the playoffs, and that ship has sailed. We got to lose the rest of the games. We want to try and crack the top 10, although I like 12. I think 12 is a good spot for Genty. I think top 5 might be out of our reach now, but honestly, if we're winning games, I really don't care. I don't intentionally want to tank. I think that's illegal, actually, but I think I don't know. But yeah, how do you pronounce his name? Urare?
Amani or Oruwariye?
Oruwariye. I can't.
Perfect. You nailed it.
That guy. He's, with all credit, I mean, he's not that bad. We picked him up. This is his second stint with the Cowboys now. He came in when Trey Diggs, Deron Bland, and Kalen Carson were all out when we're on our 4th and 5th guys in the thick of it. He came in. He played pretty well. He's not a bad player. I actually liked the pickup because he was with the Lions and did have some time with the Lions over there in Detroit. But, yeah, I've lost all the respect for the man after that play right there. Tanked quite literally our season's hopes. But yeah, shout out Joe Burrow getting his house robbed, and Olivia Ponton. I'm not sure if you're a big pop culture guy or keeping up with that on TikTok, but it's consuming my TikTok feed, and it's kind of a fascinating little story there.
Cam Taylor-Britt, the cornerback for the Bengals, was actually supposed to be defending his house, but he blew the assignment.
That's kind of a corny little dad joke, but it's funny. I liked it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Did you come up with that yourself, or did you find that somewhere else?
Nope, that's all me.
There you go. That's very talented. That's pretty good. I'll give it to you. 9 out of 10. Could be better.
Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, Joe Burrow was supposed to have some security guy protecting his house, and he failed to do that. Someone still broke it. I don't know what the deal is with that, but supposedly it's a whole thing. Anyways.
Again, that guy was Cam Taylor-Britt.
Yeah, it probably was Cam
Got
Taylor-Britt.
lost again.
Yeah. Let's get into our Sunday picks. The last part of the show today. Thursday Night Football. The line moved. It was 2.5. Now it's 3. We got 49ers Rams. What do you think?
I'm going to take the Rams. I actually don't really think the 49ers are for real. They're too inconsistent. I have no idea where this version of the offense, where they're good, again, came from. They were still down Trent Williams. They were still down Nick Bosa on the defensive side. But
they played the Bears.
Matthew Stafford, they played the Bears. There you go. Bears still suck. The Rams with good pass protection, that is a dangerous offense, and I like them to get it done straight up.
You're going to see a trend with some of my picks this week. I really like the lines. I think there's some good points to be scored here in the underdog category. I'm also going to go with the Rams. I think we just saw them beat the Bills, and the Bills are much better than the 49ers this year. And so I'm 100% confident in that pick, and I'm going to go with the Rams. Thursday Night Football. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp is a totally different team when they're in uniform on the field. They get the job done over the 49ers. No doubt about it. Tampa Bay and the Chargers. Chargers coming off a tough one. Tampa Bay, I think they won last week, but the Chargers favored by 3.
This one is tough. This gave me the most pause out of all of them. I want the Chargers.
Okay.
I'm tempted to take Tampa Bay as underdogs, but Baker Mayfield's been turning the ball over too much. Kind of let the Raiders hang around. Chargers are going to have Ladd McConkey back. They're going to be healthier. I think they were down a couple of their linebackers last game against the Chiefs. I like what they do. I like how they muddy up the box. We're going to go with LA.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think in hindsight, the Chargers are probably going to win. I really like the pick of the Bucks potentially covering.
Me too.
Especially with that line moving to 3. But I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. I think it's hard to resist the underdog selection. I think it's pretty even, and so I'm gonna lean with the underdog, see if I can get a couple points. But that's probably the toughest one of the week, no doubt about it. Big game again, the Bills and the Detroit Lions. Lions favored by 2.5 over Josh Allen and the boys.
I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take them straight up. I think that they're the better team. Detroit is badly injured in the linebacker room on the defensive line, and I think the Bills know how to capitalize on that. I don't think that the Lions are as vertical as the Rams are. I don't think they're going to be able to capitalize on the Bills' bad safety play, and it's going to be close, but I like Josh Allen to get it done.
Yeah, two teams coming off of high-scoring, shootout, back and forth, physical kind of games. It's always interesting to kind of see how they rebound. I've kind of talked about it before, maybe the importance of a bye week after a big game compared to before. I just think the Lions have kind of gotten that category where you just can't bet against them. This is a Lions team that's dominant. They have an extra couple days of rest on top of the Bills. So I'm gonna go with the Lions. They're gonna be honestly my only pick that's not an underdog. And so I think it's just hard to bet against the Lions.
It is really hard. They've paid back anyone who sided with them all season long.
For sure. You got Steelers and you got the Eagles. Eagles favored by 5.5, which is absurd to me.
I think the Eagles might have trouble offensively because Pittsburgh is very good at stopping the run, and they have probably the best pass rush in the NFL. They just have so many guys. Now they got Alex Highsmith back as well. And that could give Jalen Hurts problems because Jalen Hurts is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league. However, I don't think Pittsburgh is going to be able to move the ball whatsoever. Not against this secondary. So I'm going to go with the Eagles at home.
I like Pittsburgh. There's something different about this Pittsburgh team. I think 5.5 is absurd. I think Pittsburgh, just considering what the Eagles did, the Panthers should have beat the Eagles last week. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Xavier Legette who dropped the ball in the end zone. Yeah. They look out. Maybe a wind gust came out of nowhere. I'm not sure. But this is a Pittsburgh team. This is a defensive battle. I think bad culture in Philly, bad head coach in Philly, a bad organization in Philly, bad city in Philly. I'm not a big Philly guy, if you're going to tell. I like Pittsburgh. They're a good coach team. I think they hold the edge in every category in this one except home field advantage. But I think Pittsburgh, those terrible towels, they travel, especially in an interstate matchup. This is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be a 50-50 stadium.
Yes,
it should be a lot of fun. That's going to be a good one to watch. The Green Bay Packers favored by 3 on the road against the Seahawks. This one seems pretty obvious to me.
Man, this is one of my favorite lines of the week, and not in favor of the Packers. Mike McDonald's defense has been locked down over the past 3. They've gotten Kyler Murray and the Cardinals real good twice, and I like the Packers. I think the Packers are getting better. It feels like I bet against them every single week. Last time that actually did pay me back finally. I'm going to pick Seattle straight up at home. That's a big home field advantage. And this offense, when Geno Smith is on, and by the way, they got some guys back on the offensive line too. It's almost like that really matters for quarterbacks. He can sling it. And this is an offense that can do serious damage. We're going to go with Seattle.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite lines. I think this is all day Seattle Seahawks. Pretty comparable teams. I feel like 2 pretty solid wild card squads in the NFC. Seahawks actually leading their division right now, which is wild considering that. What are they? 8-5?
I think they stay there. I think they're going to win it.
8-5. Yeah, I think so too. But considering that 8-5 wins the division, the NFC West, kind of absurd. But yeah, I think the Seahawks get the job done. It's gonna be a good game, no doubt about it. I think this Monday Night Football. I believe it is. No, Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, Sunday night. Monday night is 2 garbage games. I don't remember what
2
they are.
garbage games. Yep. But yeah, I think Seattle gets the job done. I think comparable teams. I just like the points, and I like the home field advantage. Lumen Field, something different at night, no doubt about it. That's all we got. Pretty fun episode. I think this one lived up to the hype, Elson. I had a blast doing it. Appreciate you joining me. Next week, Natalie Dillon joins us. She did on social media announce that she's leaving the Monroe Times. Going to take another job in Monroe. So we're going to talk about maybe potentially what she might be doing there, and how she potentially might be still involved in see what she can do. So I'm super excited to chat with her. Another rendition of a little local sports, boys and girls basketball, and another great week of football as we inch closer to college football playoffs and a lot of good stuff. Elson Gratz, last words, anything?
This was a great episode. Great way to kick off the interview series, and real excited for next time.
Yeah, next time, tuning in from my house. I'll be home for that episode. I believe Elson's on a plane, so we'll be trying to figure that out. Maybe tune us in from 40,000 feet.
There we go.
Will airplane
they got Wi-Fi up there.
With us? Will it work? We'll see. It will try. We'll figure that out. Either Elson Gratz, thanks for joining us. Have a phenomenal week, and Merry Christmas.